Hey everyone, it's Kiara with Usborne Books and More. I just wanted to show you a few of my favorite stories from Usborne. These stories are really cute. They have some good morals, some really good teaching tools and values for your kids as you read them, but they're also some fun fictional stories. This first one is called Cordelia, and it's about a little girl that can fly and has all of these adventures that she goes on. And just really cool, vivid pictures. She flies with the birds and over the ocean with the dolphins and up into the sky with the moon and the stars. And then one day somebody tells her, "You can't fly, people don't fly, that's crazy." And so she starts to feel bad about that and starts to think, "Oh, maybe I really can't fly." And so she stops flying because of what other people have said. And so she's really sad about it until she decides that she's not going to listen to what other people have to say. Why should she listen to them when she knows that she can fly, and what does it matter what other people think? So she takes off and she starts flying again and goes on all of these adventures. And so it's just a cute little story teaching kids all about how to not let what other people think affect you, and that whatever you think you can do, it's possible if you really put your mind to it. This is Jonathan James and the What If Monster, another cute little story about this little boy who has this little green what if monster that follows him around and puts all these worries and these doubts in his head. And so it's a rhyming story, so it's really fun to read with your kids. And we get about halfway through the book, and Jonathan James looks at the what if monster and says, "Wait just a minute, you can't tell me what to believe and what to worry about. What if I try all these things and it actually turns out really well for me?" And so he decides to have courage, and he tries all these new things and ends up making a new friend and having a really good time. So teaching kids just about believing in themselves and not letting that little what if monster in their heads cause them to doubt. This is another cute little story called The Tale of Two Beasts, and this is really fun because it's told from two different perspectives. And the first part of the story is told from the perspective of the little girl and how she finds this strange little beast and takes him home, wraps him up, feeds him, gives him a little house, shows him off to her friends, and she's all excited about her new pet until he runs out the window, and she's feeling kind of sad and wondering what happened to him. And she has to get ready for bed, and she's laying in bed thinking, and she sees this little shadow from him as he's come back. And she thinks, well, maybe he's not so strange after all, and they become good friends. And then the second half is told from his perspective, and it's called The Terrible Beast. So he's telling the story now about how this girl, or this terrible beast, came and took him from where he was hanging in his tree, and takes him home and wraps him up and feeds him squirrel food and makes him disgustingly clean and puts him in this big box and shows him off to her friends and takes him for walkies backwards and forwards. And then he eventually gets out and goes back to his forest, but he realizes it was kind of cold, so he goes back to get that scarf that she had put him in. And then she sees him, and he decides, maybe she's not that terrible after all. And so they go out and they play and they have fun. So just a cute story told from two different perspectives, all about finding friends in the most unlikely of places and how we shouldn't judge others. And this is another cute story called The Curious Case of the Missing Mammoth. So this little boy, Oscar, runs into a mammoth who is looking for his little baby brother that is run off and causing all kinds of problems. And it turns out that the mammoths are from the museum in town, and at midnight every night they wake up and they come alive, all the objects in the museum. And so it's just their little adventure of going through the museum and looking for this little baby mammoth. But you can see there's lots of lips of flaps and fold outs and just really cool pictures. And as you go through the museum, there's lots of factual things about different stuff that you see as you go through each room. And eventually they find the little baby mammoth and get him home just in time to go to sleep, since they can only be alive and up for about an hour. And so just a really cool story that mixes fiction with nonfiction, so you're learning as you go with this cute little story. Nibbles the Book Monster is another one of my absolute favorites. This is a story about a little monster who loves to nibble on everything, but particularly he loves to nibble on books. And so he basically nibbles his way out of the book, as you can see, he goes through that little hole, and nibbles his way into another story right here. And so he goes into these fairy tales, different fairy tales, and just wreaks havoc on the stories and causes all kinds of problems until the golden goose and Jack and the Beanstalk finally gets him and carries him back to his cage. You put him back in his cage and you have to hurry and shut the door. Don't let him out. And don't take your eyes off him for even 1 second. And then you start to hear nibble, chew, gnaw, uh-oh. And you open the door and he's gone out the back of the book. So that's the story of Nibbles the Book Monster. Just really cute stories. Very engaging for kids. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed those and can find something fun.